it's still difficult, and it's all relative and based on the perspective that you're in. And I think it's important that we all recognize that to get into the driver's seat and to take control of your life takes asking some pretty heavy, deep, introspective, big questions and looking at yourself in the mirror and trying to figure out who you are, what you want, and how to get there. AKA the 3 parts of mental fortitude that what Parker and I are obsessed with, which is self-awareness, vision, and accountability. And I think, again, there are vast similarities between our 2 missions and what we want to do. Perhaps ours is a little bit on the step before you then get into the driver's seat is, figuring out who you actually are at your core and in your gut. And Next Gen empowers you then to take action and to hold yourself accountable on the visions that you're setting out for yourself. So I love, again, what we both are doing. I do have an interesting question that popped into my mind. I'm going off the script here, a little ad lib. Parker brought up our parents' past generations, right? You guys aren't called Past Gen HQ. You're called Next Gen HQ, the next generation of people that are really going to change the world. Do you think that because we have all this technology and knowledge in front of us that our lives are infinitely harder and like maybe less fulfilling or less easily fulfilled than prior generations? And I'll give an example. I have a beautiful grandmother. Her name's Grandma Louise. We love her. She's about 4'10". And I was talking to her the other day, just trying to learn from our elders. And she was mentioning she went to Purdue and she had a home economics major as her degree. And she was like, yeah, I went to college to find a husband, to find a Jewish husband. That was the goal. Looking back on it now, I was like, what the hell, Grandma? Like, didn't you want to be empowered and be and do all these things? Back then, that was not in the cards. It was, you go here, you find a husband, someone that has a good job, you raise a beautiful family, and that brings you fulfillment and success. And she doesn't feel like a failure. She feels like she hit it out of the park. She's had a wonderful life. So my question to you guys is, looking at our prior generations, are they faced with less of a overwhelming burden than the next generation of young people have in front of them now?
Shout out to your grandma. I hope to one day get to welcome her to Next Gen Summit, because as we love to say at Next Gen HQ, the next generation is a mindset that everybody from Rich Keller to Sam's grandma in her 80s, God bless, can tap into. Also 8-year-olds, call us up. Come to the summit. I'm a sports guy, if you didn't know from the Kobe analogies yet. So I'm going to use a sports reference. Dwayne Wade recently was interviewed, and he was asked who the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is. And he had what I think is the answer to your question, Sam, as his response. He didn't know he was answering your question, but he'll watch this, he'll listen, and he'll then find out. He said, well, who are you asking? Are you asking someone who's watching basketball today? Because the answer is LeBron James. Or are you asking someone who's 50, 60 years old who watched basketball in the 80s and 90s? Because the answer is Michael Jordan. Or are you asking an 80 or 90 or 100-year-old? Because the answer is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Wilt Chamberlain or Russell or a million other older guys. And the point he's making is that it's all relative, and you can't compare generation to generation that way. It'd be impossible for me to tell you if she made the right decision relative to today's standards, right? And I think that's okay. I think it's almost like a sigh of relief type of moment, right? Like, oh, whew, don't have to worry if I'm doing as well as grandma or my parents, because it's about how do you feel given the circumstances that you're dealt, right? And I think oftentimes, to the comparing theme that we've talked about a bunch here, it's a no-win situation. Looking at Dylan versus the world, I'm never going to be the smartest person. I'm never going to be the best CEO. I'm never going to be the best, most athletic, best basketball player. Never when I look to the world. But was I better today than yesterday? Right. That's the theme that I really want to emphasize. And it comes through experience, right? You got to get out there. I'm a big believer in that. Putting the work in on your own is great, but getting out there and trying and failing is really where the magic happens. But shout out to Dwayne Wade for making an appearance on Elevation Nation, baby. That's what it's about.
Dwayne Wade and Grandma Louise in the same anecdote. Never thought that was going to happen. I love it. Beautiful.
And Kareem. And Kareem. I got a little deep introspective question. Another one, sorry. That's how it goes on the Elevation Nation podcast. So, you guys talk with entrepreneurs all day, whether they're working in a big corporation and they're setting the standard for the way that this person does a certain thing within a company, or they're starting their own company, whether they're 10 years old or 70 years old, whatever it is. But you guys are there at the forefront, putting yourselves out there every single day, providing that momentum. What is it about providing momentum that just gets you up every single morning and just gets you energized to literally get other people energized? Like, what is it? I mean, you guys have been doing this for how long now? At some point you would think
10 years.
10 years.
Pretty nuts. What have you done for name any hobby that you've had for 10 years, Steve.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what?
It's been a long time. It's super fun. I mean, it's super fun. You know what's fun? People are like, how do I find my passion? Everybody asks me, how do I find my passion? Well, I don't know, man. Why don't you check under your couch? It's not a lost wallet. You don't find your passion. That myth is horrible. You don't find your passion. You know what feels good when it comes to being passionate? Getting good at stuff, accomplishing meaningful goals. That feels good. You can get passionate about that. Getting better, having an impact, doing the work. That feels really good. That is what you can be passionate about. So I'm fired up by what Dylan and I are doing. We ran our business 10 years old. For 8 of the 10 years, it was an events business. I hate events. It was an events business. I hate events. It's not because I'm so passionate about events that it's the greatest job of all time. But Dylan and I are winning now. Next Gen is sick. We're chasing our dreams. I'm not a billionaire yet, but we're on the way. We're doing the work. I'm having a freaking blast out here. You don't have to like what you're doing. You know what you should like? The process, the journey, the long game.
I love that. It is all the journey. Because you know what? We've talked about this before, Sam, so many times, right? Like, what happens when you get that big goal? It's amazing. You celebrate. Things are great. You throw that big party. Maybe you hang out. You're celebrating for a week, whatever it is. And then one day you wake up and you're like, what next? That was temporary. What next? Life just goes on and it just keeps going. So I love that point, Justin. It's all about the process, because without the process, first of all, you're not getting to the major goal. And secondly, that's where it's made. The challenges that you'd overcome, those little wins, they all build up to a big win, and then boom, you get that big win. And the fun is starting all over again. Just keep going. Well, not starting all over all the time, but.
Love it. That was beautiful. Well said. Guys, I want to go into a new segment we have on Elevation Nation here. It's a rapid fire segment. We didn't prep you. You're not ready. Too bad. We're going to go into it anyway. We're going to start with you, Dylan. Favorite book of all time? I hope there's a shameless plug here, but if there's not, I will do it for you later. Go ahead.
My favorite book of all time. Oh my goodness, there's so many. I'm gonna give you a few. And
3. Let's three interchangeably.
Okay.
They don't matter if they're first or third.
I'm gonna start with a shameless plug that we released today. It's called Now That's Momentum. Justin and I have the honor of publishing this book for you, listener. It's going to teach you what you need to be successful at work and in life, how you can cultivate the entrepreneurial mindset, and then take the next book suggestions and actually make something beautiful with them and put them into practice. That's what it's about. All right, book recommendation number 2. I'm going to steal one of Justin's, put him, in a little bit of a bind. Feel the fear and do it anyways. Oh my goodness, guys! If you haven't read it, it's written by Sam and Parker here. So, amazing book. And the third is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, which is a book that you can read multiple times and learn something new each time. One of the most meaningful and sorrowful and challenging but rewarding reads I've ever put my hands on.
Those are some incredible books. Again, book number 1, make sure it just got released yesterday, right? 23 hours ago? Today? Was it today? I saw a post. It said 22 hours on LinkedIn. I wasn't sure. Okay. Guys, no quicker time than the present to get your hands on this damn book. Now, if you're enjoying the conversation that we had, just imagine these two talking to way cooler, more famous people, learning from them in book form. Yeah. All right. If that doesn't sell you, go nextgenhq.com to learn more and perhaps secure your own copy.
So I already own Man's Search for Meaning, and Now That's Momentum, because I pre-ordered it like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever it is. But it's on the Kindle. And I'm now a physical buyer of books, which is very interesting. And I just bought the other one. So it'll be here in 2 days. And now it's going to sit on my bookshelf until I finish.